Hey guys, welcome back. Perfect day to be indoors and do a video. Look at the rain in here, right? Okay, so remember my book, right? You kind of want to get that just because it's really good. And so last week we saw this approach to drawing the figure, right? Remember we saw the how to depict the human figure using basic big volumes, right? And sorry for the autofocus, and I promised you that I was going to go over specific volumes such as the breast. So we're gonna look at these today, right? So we have all the abdomens in here, all these right here, the deltoid, and then now we're gonna see the breast. So imagine the breast as water balloons, right? So water balloon does this. You have your water balloon like this with the weight of the water here, right? This is the water, right? And this pulls down, right? Pulls down on the water balloon, right? So that's the water. So it pulls down like this. This would be equivalent to the mammary gland because it has a weight, right? So imagine now when we draw the breast, we think of this water balloon right here. Of course, it's going to be a different size. We're going to see later the various sizes. And imagine now we cut it in half. And at the peak of the form, I'm going to put the nipple. And that's your breast, right? So it's a form that it's a part of the body that will be affected by the gravity. So this portion here, the portion with the mammary gland, which is heavy, will pull down on the upper part of the skin. So now imagine that I have the rib cage. Okay, so the rib cage is curved like that at an angle, and I'm going to put my water balloon over the rib cage like that, right? So in the case of a small breast, what I'm going to have is this, the mammary gland, this portion here, the mammary gland, right, is not going to exert a lot of pull because the weight is not big. So the breasts tend to be peaking, the peak of the form of the breast tend to be higher and look up forward like this. In small breasts, you also have here visible the lower portion here under the breast, right? So then, but you see this asymmetry, right? This lower part is different from that upper part like that, right? So in here now we have, let's say, slightly bigger size breast, right? Rib cage. And then now we're gonna have a bigger form, right? So this form here is going to have more weight. Therefore, the breasts tend to pull down more, and this form will go up like this, right? And now the peak of the form is going to be not angled upward like that, but more horizontal, let's say, right? So like that, I'm going to put my nipple in there, right? And same thing with the asymmetry, etc. With bigger size breast, now let me make some room here. I'm going to have here, so rib cage, right? And then bigger size breasts, like maybe during lactation or as we age, you know, gravity really pulls down. So now this form here will peak downward like this. So the nipple will tend to be here like that, right? With a bigger size breast. So now you have all these variations, right? That kind of are now understandable. Why is the breast peaking this way or that way, etc., with everything in between? Well, because of the weight, of the size of the breast. So another thing that we want to consider is that the breasts are not directed forward like this, but slightly at an angle like this. So imagine the rib cage. You're going to have the rib cage in here, right? The head is going to be here, the nose is here. So the rib cage is curved, the front. So this portion in here, the chest is flat, and then this portion in here of the rib cage is curving, right? So the breasts are going to be more or less here, at this point in here, between the flat and the curving part of the chest, right? So they're looking that way, right? So if I have now the breast, like the rib cage, as seen from the front, right? And I think of this as a curved form, right? So this is the big marshmallow. That's the sternum. This is the neck, right? Positioning of the neck here, and the shoulders, etc. Rib cage. So now my breasts are going to be along a curved plane. That's the flat portion of the chest, right? The rib cage, and this forming here turns away. So my breasts are going to be like one here. I mean, not mine, but you know, breasts are going to be here, right? 1 and 2, right, like this. But then I want to add other structures. So here I'm going to have up here, just coming from the area of the armpit in here, I have the pectoralis. This forming here that is prominent here is the pectoralis muscle. From here, so the breasts, imagine, are pulling down, but also on the side, right? So the breasts are going to go down, they are going to be directed this way and this way, right? So now, down, pectoralis, mammary gland, right? A mammary gland in here will tend to go down this side, we've seen. So there is going to be a pull on the skin here, on this side in here, and the general shape of the breast is going to be this. Pectoralis, down straight, fairly straight, and then up at an angle, like a C, see that? So it's not going to, and the C is oriented this way. The breasts are not going to be like that, symmetrical, ever, right? So now, same thing on this side, pectoralis, the skin pulling, the breast now moving out. And of course, you're going to put the nipple. So think that when you have this sort of progression in here, you have the deltoid here, right? You have the pectoralis, and you have the mammary gland. These are going to be all one on top of the other one. So imagine this. I have the rib cage now here, right? On top of the rib cage, I have the pectoralis muscle. That's the pectoralis muscle. That's the rib cage. And this is the mammary gland over it, right? So as I do this, I'm going to have all of these forms, one on top of the other one. So that implies depth, right? So if I draw this form here, for example, the deltoid right here, and I want to put the pectoralis is going to be forward, so going to be slightly overlapping the form of the deltoid here. The mammary gland is going to be over the pectoralis. So I don't want to continue from the pectoralis to this line here, but I want to think this, right? Pectoralis and then mammary gland here like this, right? So that I have 1, 2, and 3 coming toward me, right? Of course, we're going to develop this idea of the describing the forms of the body rather than the shapes, but I'm going to do a specific video for that. Okay, so I also wanted to mention that there are a few things I'm working on. I'm gonna post them, and I have an artist talk, and at Princeton Academy I have workshops at PAFA. I have a workshop at New York Academy of Art, and a drawing demonstration at the Strand bookstore in July 8th, where I'm going to be doing book signing and then demos that you can draw along with me. And also I'm trying to organize a workshop in Sicily for about 8 days, and watercolor and figure drawing. So stay tuned. Okay, bye bye.